Wait till it starts. Start seeing. Okay. This gentleman. So I think we just close this one.
Okay, let's go.
Good to go. Close that, do it there to 10.
Oh, close it.
Yeah, close that one, yeah, that one's fine. You're good to go.
Hey, good evening, everyone. I'm going to call to order the Town of Newington Conservation Commission meeting for June 18th, 2024. Would the recording secretary please take the roll call? Sue, did you hear me? Is Sue online?
She is online.
Is she muted?
Sue, you're muted.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Thank you, Sue.
Okay, I'm sorry. I don't know what happened.
No
Commissioner
worries.
Bertrand,
Here.
Commissioner Conway, Commissioner McCormick,
Yeah.
Commissioner Morris,
Here.
Commissioner Kastowicz.
Here, but I have to tell you that I may not make it through the whole meeting. I have a swollen kneecap, and I have to take care of that in case it starts to cause trouble. So I'm here for now.
Okay, Commissioner Sadil, Commissioner Wimett,
Here.
Chairman Zellick.
Here. I did not hear Commissioner Sadell. Is he online?
He is online.
Yes, I am. I was on mute. Sorry. Yes.
There he is.
Thank you.
He was
Okay,
muted.
Thank you.
I'm going to seat Commissioner Bashant for the open seat of former Commissioner Wagner. And I'm going to seat Commissioner Morris for the absent Commissioner Conway. Next item on the agenda is wetland agent appointment. Chris, were you able to complete the courses?
I was, just barely. I think I finished at 2 this afternoon.
All right. Eric, are there any other requirements that we need to be aware of?
No.
Agent appointment?
There are
Okay,
not.
seeing none. Can I get a motion to appoint? We have the motion? Okay, thank you. Could you read the motion for the appointment?
Sure.
Since Bernadette is not present today, normally have the secretary do it.
That's right.
Yes, go ahead.
Okay. Move to appoint the town engineer, Chris Zebedeo, as the wetlands agent. How do you pronounce it?
There's a video.
Can I get a second, please?
I'll second it. John Bashant.
Second for Commissioner Bashant. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Seeing none, resolution passes unanimously. Congratulations.
Thank you.
We'll move on to acceptance of minutes, approval of the minutes from the meeting of May 21st, 2024. Any corrections to the minutes from any of the commissioners?
None here.
Commissioner Bashant?
Yeah, I saw one right on the first page. I didn't go, verbatim over the entire thing, but about around in the middle of the page, it said, Chairman Zellick, since we have one resignation of Commissioner Wagner, I'm going to seat Commissioner Bashant in his stead. I don't know,
Stead.
Huh?
Stead.
Stead?
Stead. Instead.
Steve.
Instead, Steve.
I learned something new.
Anything else, Commissioner Bashant?
No.
All right, any other commissioners?
None here.
Seeing none, can I get a motion to accept the minutes?
So moved.
A second, please. Second from.
Commissioner Morris.
Second from Commissioner Morris. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions? Motion passes unanimously. Moving on to public hearing, for application 2024-03 for the demolition of an existing garage and construction of a 20-foot by 40-foot detached garage, 12-foot by 12-foot building addition, and 40-foot by 40-foot paved driveway within the URA Upland Review area at 54 Northwood Road. Applicant owner contact Michael Campbell. I will start by reading through the article 12 of the wetland procedures for conducting a public hearing. Section 1, the chairman of the commission shall preside over the public hearing. In the event of his absence, the vice chair or duly appointed commission member shall act as presiding officer. Section 2, the legal advertisement with the notation of the dates of the newspaper publication in which the advertisement of the public notice was made shall be read, and Eric will take care of that after I finish reading through the rest of these. Section 3, the presiding officer shall prescribe the method by which the public hearing will be conducted. It shall be made clear to the public that all comments must be directed to the chair and only after being properly recognized by the presiding officer. Section 4, all persons recognized shall approach the hearing table in order to facilitate the proper recording of comments. Each person shall identify himself and state his address prior to making any comments. Section 5, the presiding officer shall assure an orderly public hearing and shall take the necessary steps to maintain the order and decorum of the public hearing at all times. The presiding officer shall reserve the right to terminate the public hearing in the event the discussion becomes unruly or unmanageable. Section 6, the show of hands by those present for the purpose of taking an opinion poll shall not be allowed on any question at the public hearing. The public hearing shall be conducted only for the purpose of taking testimony to be considered in deliberations of the commission. With that said, Eric, would you please read the public notice?
The public hearing notice, Newington Conservation Commission, notice of public hearing, June 18th, 2024 at 7 p.m. Notice is hereby given that the Newington Conservation Commission will hold a public hearing in the council chambers, room 103 at Town Hall, 200 Garfield Street, Newington, Connecticut, on Tuesday, June 18th, 2024, to consider the following petition. Application 2024-03, the demolition of an existing garage and construction of a 24-foot by 40-foot detached garage, a 12-foot by 12-foot building addition, and a 40-foot by 40-foot paved driveway within the URA Upland Review area at 54 Northwood Road. Applicant owner contact Michael Campbell. This public hearing will be a Zoom webinar hybrid meeting. Information on how to attend will be posted on the town website at the web address. These petitions and related materials are available for public inspection at the town planner's office, Town Hall, room 204, and through the published agenda at the Town Planning and Zoning Commission Agenda Center website. Persons who require an accommodation to participate in this public hearing should contact the town planner at 860-665-8578 or townplanner@newingtonct.gov, not less than 24 hours before the public hearing. Submitted, Eric Hinckley, Assistant Town Planner, Inland Wetland Agent. Legal advertisement ran the rare reminder on June 6th and June 13th, 2024.
Okay, thank you, Eric. All right, if the applicant is present, would they come forward and continue with their presentation? I believe the commission has heard quite a bit of information and asked for some additional information at the last meeting. My understanding is some of the information is not yet available, such as the professional engineer's report and a soil scientist report.
Yes, so the civil engineer has not been secured yet, either as a soil scientist, which is what I believe was requested. But there are some other piece of information he also requested, the drawings for the permeable pavers that they have. I will submit the cleaning and maintenance of those pavers, the sizing and catchment area and how they will size the roof for the catchment. I also went online and while talking to a couple of these engineers, they told me to look at the option of a rain garden, and went online with that. And there is a calculator for the catchment and how big a rain garden should be. the rain garden feasibility map for Northwood, and the fact that the soil feasibility is on the map here for the legend. And then I came up with a conceptual drawing to show you the a little more detail that you were looking for, the square footage of the pavers and the rain gardens. The rain gardens in the calculator for the state of Connecticut says I need just under about 200 square feet of rain garden. I've put forth a plan for 800 square feet of rain garden and a better idea of what the backyards look like in a concept drawing. Other than that, I have to secure a civil engineer and the scientists.
Okay. Eric or Chris, have you received these updated documents?
We have not, so we have not had a chance to review them, obviously.
Okay. All right.
So I'm sure he'll leave them tonight and
Right.
I am familiar with these online calculators and I find that they are fairly accurate. I'm not sure which one to use, but we'll look at that.
The one for the state, it's in there.
Oh, if it's a state.
Okay, all right.
All right. So, very good. I'll turn it over to commissioners. Any further questions for the applicant? I think, John, you were maybe interested in the pavers.
Yeah, I had asked what type of pavers, but I guess we're gonna eventually get this, or if you
Yeah,
wanna
so-
tell us, are they the impervious, are they the pervious, permeable, pervious? No.
There's, and they tell the rate of infiltration and how to properly put them in.
So no polymer sands or any of that stuff.
None of that, no. It's all in there. It tells you which ones to use and how to use it.
And the catchment, is that what you're referring to as that interceptor in the back of the garage?
So the idea is to keep all that rain on the property as much as possible.
Yep.
And with that calculator, like I said, they gave you a size of just around 200 square feet. I have no problem putting in several hundred, actually, it's over 800 square feet.
So you're exchanging the interceptor for the rain garden, or that's all gonna be one?
All gonna be one. It's all gonna tie together to try to keep it all on the property. And the soil scientists will give us some sort of perk test. And the state says that soil in that area, there's a map on there, is high, what they call a high drainage or stream drainage.
I'll just say that I drove behind the old plaza today and it's pretty grown in now, but I've been there once before and I do see a lot of hardwoods in the back there, so it doesn't look like a typical wetland, outside of that water course. I see a lot of hardwood trees growing there.
Okay.
And it is an upward slope, slightly upward slope.
It sounds like we're moving in the right direction.
Yeah, I think.
Other commissioners, questions for the applicant while he's here?
No.
Okay, seeing no other questions from commissioners. I don't see any members of the public present in the room. Anyone online?
just checking. There's no one online that has their hand raised or anything?
Okay, so in that case, can I get a motion to table this until the next meeting when we have the rest of the information available to us?
If I may, Mr. Chairman, I don't know, in the interim, if we look at this and we determine if Chris is satisfied with the grading and everything, would you still want him to hire an engineer? I'm just asking the question. If
My main concern is to satisfy the town engineers.
Okay.
Whatever the questions he has. If you see the calculations and all the information you need, then I would be okay with our town engineer instead of the applicant having to hire a professional engineer. But I'll open that question up to the commission for their opinions. Go ahead, Mr. Commissioner Bashant.
Yeah, I just think it's really important to have an interceptor there of some sort and as big as possible. And if he's willing to make it even a little bit larger.
Right, but the question at hand is whether.
Yeah, I would be fine with that. Yeah, if the
town
our
engineer.
our town engineer is satisfied with it, and we're satisfied with it.
Yeah.
I'd like to see some dimensions on it and
All right.
Sounds acceptable.
Any other commissioners? All right, that sounds like a acceptable.
If I just might add
Compromise.
one thing.
Yes.
Originally, I heard some discussion of not having gutters on the garage, but if you have the proper, interceptor, there's no reason you can't have gutters, so.
No, the idea was to not concentrate the water in one area. The object was to catch it in a free flow, but keep it on the property without directing it to a certain area. That's all.
But that's what gutters do sometimes. but-
Right, so
But
that's
with
why
that
we-
interceptor, you would be able to have gutters and not have your garage rot out or,
Correct.
get damaged.
Yes.
Mr.
Okay.
Chairman, if I may, have my hand raised.
Commissioner Siddell?
Yeah, I would go with town staff making the assessment. I'll be satisfied with that from my point of view.
All right, thank you. All right, then with that said, can I get a motion to table the public hearing until the next meeting?
I'll make a motion to table the public hearing till the next meeting.
Okay, because
I second it.
second from Commissioner Wemett. All in favor, say aye.
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 Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, motion passes unanimously. We'll table until the next meeting. Okay, thank you. All right, moving on to public participation on non-agenda items. Any member of the public wishing to speak, please come forward. No one in the room? Anybody online wishing to speak?
No one online has their hand raised, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, we'll move on to next item, which is new business. I don't see any new business listed.
That is correct.
Okay, we'll move on to item 8, old business. This was for the application of the demolition of the existing garage. Application number 2024-03. We've already tabled this until the next meeting. So we'll go on to application IW 24-4 for the reconstruction of the pedestrian bridge within the Upland Review area at 123 Garfield Street, Mill Pond Park. Applicant owner, Town of Newington. Contact Christopher Zibedino. Chris, you have additional items to present to us this evening?
I believe the only outstanding items were the report that Paul Dixon put together regarding the compensatory plantings and to address the commission's concerns having to do with clearing.
All right.
He put together a fairly extensive document for you.
All right, so Paul Dixon is not present this evening. Commissioners, did you have a chance to review this document that was included in our packets?
Yes.
Anyone have any questions on it, concerns?
I
Go
just,
ahead, Commissioner Bashant.
my original one is, maybe I didn't specify it clearly, but I'm just curious why we need a 100-foot full 360-degree swing for a crane. I would think.
It's not 360 degrees. It's more like 200 degrees. So it's not the area, if you're looking north, it's not the area to the left,
Okay.
which would only be pruned in the direct line of the path.
Mhm.
It's clearing out over the pond. So that swing there is what we're swinging.
Okay, I
So
thought.
I knew
on
we
the-
draw it as a circle on the plan, just to
Yeah.
try and make it easier to visualize. But we don't intend to do anything more
Okay,
on the, let's call that the west side of the path than is necessary to accommodate the crane.
okay. That's, I thought I asked the question and it was made, it was said that it was gonna be that full circle, but you clarified that, so.
No, I'm sorry if I misled you.
Oh, Ed, okay, I'll wait. I have another question, but it's not related to this. So.
It's not related to this application?
What's that?
It's not related to this
No, it's
application?
definitely related to the application, but it's more of a, I was curious about the bridge, because I was there today. May I ask about the
Well,
structure of the
let's-
bridge?
Hold your thoughts on
Yeah.
that. Let's focus on the plantings document.
Yeah.
And then we'll go back to the bridge. Commissioners, any other comments regarding the planting rejuvenation plan? All right, seeing none, we'll go back to Commissioner Bashant.
This is related to the structure of the bridge. I noticed today our bridge has a slight arc to it. And I don't remember seeing your drawings or if you have a final drawing or specification on that, because it is kind of the theme there and
Okay, so I know where you're going with this. This came up in discussion when we presented for the 824 review with town council.
Mhm.
The plan that's in the package was the original set of drawings. The town council requested a camber to be added to the bridge, and we did. It's just not in these plans.
Okay,
It's
good.
And, but I do want to specify this, as I did at the town council meeting. The amount of arch is probably not as prevalent as the amount of arches on there now. The justification for that is the arch that's being given to this is what is the maximum amount allowed by ADA. So I know you can go out there with a wheelchair today and cross that bridge. I don't have a lot of experience with wheelchairs myself, but so I'm told. But when you're looking at the math of the ADA, where you can't exceed more than a 5% at any point, and this is what we call a catenary curve. As you go through the tangents of the catenary curve, you can't exceed that 5%. So the maximum amount of camber that you're going to have on the new bridge is in the neighborhood of, now this is from memory, 3 to 4 inches, which is a little less than you have now.
I'm just strictly going by the visual. So when you look at that bridge and if it was flat, it would not look right. So,
Sure, but a structure that's more than 50 years old predates ADA,
yeah. I
so
see
they
that.
didn't have to worry about those things then?
And I could see the rod underneath it too. So it's definitely time to change the bridge. So I'm not
That's
questioning that. It is part of the visual appeal of that waterfall, because if you had a flat, straight across flat, you're gonna kill some of the look of that. And, I'm afraid people would come out with the pitchfork. It's kind of hard to argue with ADA though.
Right.
It is. When I asked the designers if they could increase that to any extent, they basically said, well, do you want to have that challenge? And, we really don't.
The only way would be to make it longer, which you can't really do anyway.
Well, the degree of curvature wouldn't change. It would just, if you make it longer, you'd get a bigger bump, if you want to look at it that way.
Commissioner Sedil has his hand raised.
Commissioner Sedell?
Yes, thank you. The age of this bridge, you said, is 50 years. You said that
50 that we know of. We know it's older than that, but we can't put a date on it because the people who are telling me how old it was just tell me things like, well, I had my wedding pictures taken there and that was 50 years ago, that kind of thing. We don't have a document that says the bridge was built in, say, 1950 or something like that.
I'm going to get to my point, but you're going to use the same amount of steel. I noticed it's some steel that's some anti-corrosion coating on it and painted over. Is that going to be the same with this bridge, same steel? Is it material-wise? It's just like the old one? Have we made some improvements? I'll get to my point in a minute, but I am curious, what will be the useful life of this bridge?
It'll outlive me.
Yeah, I know that. It'll help me as well. I'll get to my point.
They typically will tell you that these things will last 30 plus years. So I expect it will go beyond that, but the best I can get for an answer is 30 plus. Obviously, if we maintain it like anything else, it will last longer.
So here's my point. My concern is there's a lot of mature trees in the vicinity immediately adjacent in front of this bridge. If you look up from where the lower porch is, the deck and looking up, how many trees are going to have to be taken out to maneuver this thing out and put the new one in? I'm not clear. I'm all good with Mr. Dixon's maintenance plan. Looks very sound to me. But how many of those mature trees are going to have to come out in order to successfully pull out and set in the new bridge?
So to answer that, if you're looking at the plan that we have up on the screen now, and you see the dashed line, that is our potential disturbance limit. And the swing zone, that big 100-foot circle. So whatever is waterward of the path within that dashed line is coming out.
Mm-hmm.
And what is on the Garfield Street side or bus garage side of the path will only be trimmed.
But some trees will have to be removed.
Correct.
I'd like to know what that is, but first of all, I'd like to have a head-on shot, know exactly what's coming out, okay? And second is because my questioning, if we have to take this down, why don't we put plantings that this doesn't happen again? 30 years from now, we're all gone, and I see you're gonna have some maneuverability issues if you're just gonna pick it up and turn it and take it out. That was my only concern. There's some very, very mature trees immediately adjacent to the bridge, and are you doesn't sound like you're gonna be able to avoid those or maneuver, turn it and 90 degrees and out. Is that or you just do a big swing radius? You're gonna take quite a bit of vegetation and some trees out. So can that be avoided, number one? And if we have to do it, can we replant? So 30 years from now, we don't have to take these trees out again, sort of future state. And that's my main concern right here. I don't care. I don't know what the other commissioners feel, but that's one thing that's I'm a little uncertain when I visited the site.
Yeah, so Commissioner Siddell, when you visited the site, the large trees that you're concerned with, were they on the water side of the path or on the Garfield bus station side of the path?
I didn't take a picture, but it was sort of right adjacent. No, not, I would say on the near side of the bridge. They would be, if you were going to turn this thing, they would be knocked out. You have to take those out of, get those out of the way in order to do this big swing radius we're talking about. I think they were in the path of this circle that we have here. And I would see that, you got to remove those trees if you're going to just do a simple lift and turn.
So
That's what I recollect. When I visited about a week ago, I did stop by and take a look.
When the, for lack of a better term, I'll refer to him as the town arborist, was here at the last meeting. I think he said in his inventory there were 4 large trees of value that he was concerned about.
There was a pin oak, there was a swamp maple, and there were 2 others that I don't recall.
Right. So there was an inventory. that they
Yes,
gave us.
and I believe Mr. Dixon's document refers to them as well.
Yes.
So I think, Commissioner Siddell, that some of the information you're looking for may be in that document provided by Paul Dixon.
I read the document. It didn't satisfy. I like to see a head-on shot from the deck showing me what exactly needs to be taken out. I agree with what he said, all the maintenance plan, but I still have that my prime question. I read all 10 pages, but it doesn't give me a shot. Zone 2, head on, what trees will be taken out. It may be referred to them, but I did not visually get an idea of what this is going to take.
So if it's between the paved path and the water, and it is between the bridge and the laydown area, it will be removed. And if it is north of the bridge, in that area, there is a limited amount that will be removed, and that's just a safety buffer. So what is between the paved path to the left, if you're facing north, would be maintenance trimmed. It would be whatever overhanging limbs and things that would be required to be removed to avoid any conflict with the crane. So again, water side, everything, and land side, limited.
Do you have access to Paul's photographs?
And I have a copy of his report here.
Oh, I was wondering if you could bring those photographs up online.
Oh, can we do that?
If I have it on.
And then maybe you could identify the trees of concern.
Which page do you want, Jeff?
Well, I'm looking at page 4. And it looks like we're looking southward.
It's
So, yeah, we're on
definitely
the
on the
north.
right-hand side now of this picture. It's in that,
This one?
that picture right now. They're on the right-hand side.
Okay, so that's on the Garfield side, and my understanding is nothing on that side is being touched other than some trimming.
Yeah, overhanging limbs, things of that nature. You can't see it well, but on the far side of the bridge in that photo on page 4, there's an older tree with a fairly substantial limb that needs to be trimmed in order to make the crane swing. And the arborist is looking at that as far as its current health and that sort of thing. He's going to assess it at the time that they're doing the work. But if you're looking at that photograph again, everything on the left side, on the far side of the bridge will go, and everything on the near side in this photograph will be trimmed back for a smaller distance. But it's the right-hand side in that image that will not be clear cut. That's going to be maintenance pruned. So in the bottom left-hand picture on that, those plants that are in the immediate foreground will be cut, as will the ones in the photograph on the right
Right,
side of
that's
that.
on Lakeside. I was
Correct.
viewing from down below, up, looking up.
Yep. So the lakeside stuff is what's the predominant concern. That's the stuff that will be cut down to ground level. And then as it starts to come back again, Parks Department employees will, what would be the word he used in this report? Pay closer attention to how they allow it to come back.
Monitor, they'll monitor. I did read
Monitor's a
that.
good word. Sure. Okay.
So the future plan is not to allow large trees to grow on that pond side?
Correct. And there's other considerations than just this application. Mr. Dixon alluded to early in this report, the dam safety inspection we had in 2017, which was the guiding document, I believe, for what he wrote here, where that report stated that this material should be trimmed back and then maintained in a given way. And that's the first page or two of the report.
Okay. You know, my main concern with trees on that water side was that oak, which is a good source of food for wildlife. I hate to lose that, but if we have to lose it for safety, I mean, I understand that. But I would like to see a net zero loss of that food source. Is it possible to get that same type of oak planted somewhere else in the park, if not near the bridge?
We intend to do that. That was part of my discussion with the Parks Board. Well, not my personal, who went to the Parks Board for us? I believe Jamie did. But don't quote me on that, Jamie being the town manager. Another employee of the town attended a Parks Board hearing and discussed compensatory plantings, and we will compensate for these trees that are not invasives or otherwise worthless with nursery stock in another part of the park where it won't be, well, it won't be along the berm in this area, it'll be someplace else.
And when Parks has done that in the past with a couple other town projects where trees had to be removed and they did compensatory planting elsewhere.
Okay.
It may not always be, you know, in the exact, obviously it's not gonna be in the same place. It could be in the park, it may be in another park, but yes.
Right. Now I feel much better about, you know, we're not gonna lose that food source that at some point will be replaced. All right, so I'm not that concerned then about the loss of those 4 trees that were discussed at the last meeting. Commissioner Bashant.
You know, I don't get it, because if people are concerned about that purple zone there, the whole purpose of a crane is that it reaches and swings, and all it's got to do is go from the current location of the bridge to the landing pad. And it could swing right around all of that. I see no reason why the vast majority of that would have to be removed, except for where the crane is sitting. So if someone did have a concern over those, the vegetation there, I think, Jeff, you said yourself that there's a lot of invasives there, so it might be a good opportunity to get rid of it. But if there are trees there, and I didn't look that closely at that, but if there are trees there that anyone has a concern or of some great value, that's the whole purpose of the crane, swing around that. And you can see the arc right there. It doesn't involve that whole area. I don't get it. I'm not invested one way or the other, but I'm just saying, if there are trees there that need, that you even would consider protecting, then that's the purpose of the crane.
So we'll let the engineer respond.
I'm not quite clear on the question. The 4 trees that are of value in the purple zone, are the ones that we're gonna compensate for.
But I'm saying there's no reason to me, there would be no reason to cut them down to begin with, unless there was another reason to cut them down to.
Well, they'd be in the
Ancillary.
way of the boom of the crane. Those trees are 20 or more feet tall, the four of them that we're discussing. And so that would be an impediment to the crane swinging while carrying a bridge underneath the
Yeah,
boom of the crane.
by the swing that you've got drawn on here, it doesn't seem like that would be the case to me, but I won't argue the point, so
Okay.
just pointing out what looks obvious.
So the purple area 2, is that needing to be cleared for dam inspection, or is dam inspection really just area 1?
The dam inspection is really not what I was applying for tonight, so that's kind of
No, I
a
understand,
side issue.
but I know that dam inspection was mentioned, and then it's
Right.
beneficial to remove the vegetation for
Correct.
that purpose.
So the purple area is the primary swing zone. The box in the middle of that is where the crane pad will sit. And then the laydown area, which overlaps with the yellow area, where it's within the 100-foot swing that's the primary area that we're worried about. And then the green area to the north is just clearing far enough away from the bridge itself so that if in the process of moving the bridge, something were to go wrong, they have a place to set it down as opposed to tipping over. And then that additional yellow area is as much there's no real value to the plantings that are in that yellow area. So that would be cleared as also as a something of a safety area. The only 4 trees that are of interest are in the purple zone.
Right, and I am concerned about the loss of those, but if they are going to compensate in another area for them, I'm okay with that. And I also favor safety over everything else. I put that at the highest regard, and I'll lean on the engineer and rely on them to tell us when they need to clear these things for safety purposes.
Commissioner Paskowitz had his hand raised as well.
Commissioner Paskowitz?
Yeah, I withdraw. I think everything's been covered regarding the safety as well. And I'm glad that you brought that up, Chairman Zella, because that's the purpose of the engineers that are evaluating a site for a crane movement. And I think they know the best way to provide public safety and land safety. So I would say leave it up to them. Thank you.
My point exactly, and I agree. All right. Any other commissioner comments?
No.
So, commissioners, are you comfortable with moving on for a motion regarding a public hearing, whether it's needed or not? Or discussion regarding that?
Yeah.
All right. I'll lead off. My opinion is there's no residents directly impacted by this. I see it as pretty much a necessity to the town to execute this project. I don't see any real impact to the wetlands and water courses. The activity within the upland review, unfortunately, we will lose some trees, but looks like that will be addressed in the rejuvenation plan. Commissioner Bashant.
I would just add that it is a public park, and I think you're gonna get some pushback just from doing the clearing. So like, if the month is not going to interfere with plans for the construction, I would probably lean towards the public hearing. Even a one night, close it, and
We could if we had all the information we needed. Which it seems like we don't really have anything outstanding at this point.
I would
If a
just
public
say,
hearing was to be held.
I would just say it might be the safer thing to do.
Okay.
If it's not gonna interfere with the construction season.
No, we're not building until fall.
Okay. So.
So I'd like to hear from other commissioners on their opinions. Commissioner Morris, would you like to weigh in?
Seems the way you put the proposition, there doesn't seem to be that much impact. It didn't strike me, but you know, I'm a fairly new resident. You know, if you could anticipate a big public hue and cry, you know, you might want to cut that off with a hearing. But, you know, your original proposition, short of that, sounded a reasonable way to go to me.
And I'm on the fence, you know, this is why I want to hear from the other commissioners.
Mr. Chairman,
Commissioner Siddell?
my only concern is that when the public sees the construction vehicles and the cranes and stuff, they're gonna wanna know what's going on. And you're gonna be calling town hall, say, hey, what's going on here? It's just informing the public. No, my questions have been answered, thank you, but I just worry when they see something going on, people are gonna start calling, and it's just the public relations kind of thing. That would be my
So-
concern, you know.
Yeah, and I agree. Typically, a public hearing is because we see significant impact to the upland review area or the wetlands. But in this case, I can completely agree with you that it almost seems like we'd be doing due diligence on behalf of the public in case there's anything we may have missed.
Or
We have
maybe
some
put up some
representatives
signage in advance that this is coming and, you know, in advance, just like, that this is coming and, all right,
Yeah.
it's been reviewed. I don't know, just trying maybe an alternative, but just
Okay,
informing the
So-
public what's going on, not to be
Right.
concerned or.
now, we do have our town council members present, and I'm anticipating your question.
Right.
Your point may be that, you know, has this already been
Is this
brought to
generally
the-
known?
brought to the public's attention through the council?
It was discussed, twice. Yeah.
Do you think we need a public hearing?
And it was also in front of planning and zoning.
But not public hearings though, correct?
No, that.
Just regular meetings.
Just-
Presentation.
Yeah.
That's not the public hearing. It's a help.
That you'd have to give. Re-hearing on the side of two. I guarantee nobody will show up, but at least you can't say that.
Where they can't fault us for it.
I would say exactly the same thing that, in all fairness and respect to residents, that it probably will not be a very long public hearing, but, to provide that opportunity, I think would be beneficial.
I think you said it best in respect and fairness for the public.
I think, they would be maybe more concerned, I think they know that the bridge may be going in, but is there gonna be any impact to the falls? Is there gonna be any kind of blasting? Is the cutting of the trees gonna impact the roots? But I think that protecting the falls and like you said, the trees around it.
Okay.
Both the flora and the fauna, and I think as I was reading through, there is also consideration to turtles and some of the other fauna that are adjacent or in the pond.
And,
That's
and
good to know.
having the public hearing does not delay your project.
It should not.
Sue has her hand raised. Sue Given.
Who does?
Yeah,
Sue
I'm
Given.
sorry. If we're gonna have other people speak from the audience, they have to come up to the microphone because I didn't hear half of what they said.
Understood.
Thank you.
Thank you, Sue. Thank you, Sue. All right.
Basically, we just said that we agree that there should be a hearing.
Okay, so with all of that, then, my feeling is the consensus is to have a public hearing. So with that said, then can I get a motion for a public hearing?
I'd like to make a motion that we have a public hearing to discuss the construction of the bridge.
We have them right here.
Yeah, there's a motion there for you.
Oh, we got a motion?
Yeah. There. Just wait for the application.
Sure. So we'd have a public hearing for the reconstruction of the pedestrian bridge within the upland review area at 123 Garfield Street, which is Mill Pond Park. The applicant is the town of Newington. The contact is Chris Divideo of the town engineer, and the motion is for a public hearing. The proposed activity will have a significant impact to the regulated area and is in the best interest of the public to hold a hearing for application IW 24-2 to be scheduled for July 16th, 2024.
Great, thank you, Commissioner Wilmette. Can I get a second, please?
I'll second
from Commissioner Bashan. All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Seeing none, the motion passes unanimously. Okay, then a motion to table this until the next meeting, which will be the public hearing.
You know, you've just called for the public hearing, so you really don't have to table anything.
Okay, all right, then we will move on to the next item on our agenda, which is public participation on non-agenda items. Seeing no members of the public present, anyone online, Eric?
No one online.
Okay, seeing none, we'll move on to communications and reports. First item is agent communications.
I'll give the presentation briefly. There were a number of agent approvals in last month, typically happens in May. So I approved the monitoring wells at 549 Cedar Street, which they gave a presentation at the last meeting. We approved deck replacements for 10 decks at a building at Churchill condo in the Upland Review area. They're replacing the piers as well. Approved another agent approval for an above ground pool at 75 Kimberly Road. And an approval at 49 Schoolhouse Road for the removal of an in-ground pool. And at 15 Highland Street for a deck with piers in the URA. All those are in the Upland Review area only.
All right, any other items, Mark?
No, I believe that's it.
All right, town council liaison communications. Anything from our counselors this evening?
Yeah.
Okay, our counselors are coming forward to the microphone.
Gail Bedrejko, Town Councilor.
Kim Rata, Deputy Mayor. There's really, I don't feel we have a lot that would be pertinent to the commission, from the previous meeting, which was 2 weeks ago. One thing that we can say is that we are continuing with and moving forward with the town manager search. I happen to be one of the folks on the committee. We had a recent meeting. We do have candidates that have been vetted by an outside agency that we have worked with in the past and that we are working with at the moment. There will be an external panel that will be reviewing, and then our search committee will be getting together and meeting again at the end of this month. And we'll have additional information, hopefully. But it is moving forward, and I think it's moving forward well and as expeditiously as we can make it.
The only other thing that, I mean, it's not like Deputy Mayor Grata said, there's nothing specifically to this commission, but maybe of interest. The OFI purchase is on hold pending more information that's required. But there has been some guarantees that that particular little green space that is next to the OFI building, because it is recognized as wetlands, will, I've heard several times say, not be touched, not be cut, not be impacted at all. But in terms of the actual OFI purchase, that there's more information that we've requested.
Yeah,
So I would safely say, I think you'll agree with me, that as a whole, the council does not want to touch or have any kind of negative impact to that small wooded parcel. That we are concerned about green space to begin with, and we certainly don't want to negatively impact any amount, including that.
So for the record, I don't think on our inland wetland.
I can
maps
clarify that it's not
that is not
designated town
identified
wetlands.
as a wetland, but
Okay.
upon inspection, it does give all indications of containing, wetlands.
And a few
The types of
residents.
vegetations and other
Yeah, the
signs.
street behind what's that, the street
Art-
behind
Art
Lane
Lane.
indicated that, they were a little bit concerned because their, I guess, backyards flood at times too, so.
Oh, yeah, there's a lot of standing water in there. And as I showed in the photograph, they actually have a footbridge across the standing water.
Yeah, I haven't been there partly because just walking alongside it, I can see poison ivy and I don't want to end up in the ER again. But no, I agree that's nothing that we
Yeah,
really want
as
to
long as
touch.
we've identified it as a possible concern.
Another area that you may be interested in was the Best Market Plaza, where the proposal came for apartments and there was public kind of outcry and they would have wetlands. It hasn't come before TPZ yet, but indications are that an application will be coming forward to the Best Markets, former Best Market store for a trampoline zone.
The application has been received.
Okay, so, and what the rest of how that impacts the rest of the plaza, I don't believe there's anything beyond that, but that.
No, they're going into the old Best Market site. They're just not taking any other space. That's their intention.
Hope the ceiling is high enough.
But
That's Northwood Plaza, right? That's
Yeah.
what we used to call it.
Yeah. And that area which we've just been talking about with the garage addition, that is, behind that is a wetlands area, correct?
Right, that's
It's been designated.
It's, as the town engineer can attest to as well, it's a hard bottom paved swale kind of situation. So, in high rain events, it will move pretty well back there.
Okay.
So, but it is designated as a wetland area on the town map.
Yeah, at the last meeting we had, kind of discussed that for a little bit, and that is known to be at capacity already.
So, and if that does go through, again, it hasn't, the applications have received, but it hasn't.
There will be no wetland application for that. They're just all the renovations are interior of the
Yeah.
building.
But, the hope is that maybe that'll generate some, for the parking is there, maybe it'll generate some small restaurants or whatever. And it satisfies some of the residents' concerns regarding the initial proposal or the previous proposal, which was for 100% housing. So we'll see what happens.
We can be hopeful.
We can be hopeful.
And I think
Yeah, that's about it.
that's our report. Thank you.
Thank you. Moving on to the next item, Pond Life Research and Education. Alan, I believe this is yours.
Yes, thank you. I received a courtesy call from Eric Hinckley about a week ago regarding my concern of the pond and removal of potential slash and timber in the pond. And he asked me my view on it. And he mentioned that some of the floating logs are habitat for turtles. And I agree with that. There's some small logs there that I have seen turtles resting on, and I think that's a supportive thing to keep. Yet there is slash in the water that has been there for quite some time that I think still should be removed, which I conveyed to him. He asked me if there are any more issues, and I said, well, the one that has been ongoing for quite some time are the geese, and obviously they come and go, and it's become one of their homes. Yeah, the pathways have been very littered with their waste, which I feel is not a healthy thing or environment for people to be walking on, whether they're barefoot from the pool, getting out with their parents, or anyone with shoes or bicycles carrying this waste debris home. And it could cause the health issues that I mentioned. And I had heard from one of my friends whose father had been on this commission for quite some years. He visits the pond, and he told me that the town has a mobile device that travels on land into the water to distract the geese to leave. So Eric told me he would look into this. So I'd like to know his response. In the meantime, I have been previously cycling around as usual, and I see the paths have been a lot cleaner than usual. So I'm wondering, Derek, if you could fill in the blanks on this.
So I did reach out to the Parks Department because I was unaware of such a device, and they did confirm they do have one. And they were having some mechanical or software issues with it, the last I heard, but they were working on getting it rectified and getting it back in action. I don't know how often they run it. I would recommend if you have questions about that, you could reach out to the Parks Department and Clay Pedigo, and he should be able to give you the answers to that, when they're gonna operate it and stuff like that.
Eric, is that the Goosenator?
Goosenator, it is the Goosenator, yes.
Okay, because there is, I don't know if it's a sign or the actual device on the pool building.
Yeah, maybe over there.
It
yeah.
says Goosenator on it.
Yeah, I have not seen it in action myself, but
I had something to add.
Thanks for following up on that. I also want to speak to what I had seen about a year or two ago. There was a gentleman hired to come in on a on-call basis or infrequent basis, and he was firing off some type of not a fireworks, but similar to that into the air to have the geese disperse, which was quite early in the morning. And I don't know if we're still utilizing that person or not, but it seems like we've moved on to this device, the Goosenator. So we'll go from there and see how it proceeds. Thank you. I don't have any further input.
All right. Any other comments from commissioners before we close the meeting?
Just regarding the pond life and to the commissioner's point about floating debris in the pond. I brought this up for years. Originally, that pond had a skimming device there. The posts and columns are still there, and it was a boom that went across just on the other side of the bridge.
the other bridge, no.
Yeah, the other bridge, where Schoolhouse Brook comes in, the inlet side, where you would want a skimming boom. And, you know, it sat on the embankment for years. I guess it got pulled in or got damaged at some point, and I've raised it before. And, you know, what's the value of having it installed again? It does require maintenance because then you have to clean behind it all the time. So most of the stuff just flushes right through, but, you know, so just bringing that up again. I don't see the yellow boom sitting on the side of the embankment anymore, so somebody must have picked it up, and
I think they did remove it.
finally it was there for literally years and years. But those columns are still there where they have the rings on them that you chain it up to. And so if anyone ever wants to discuss the value of having it again someday.
All right. Any other comments from commissioners? Seeing none, can I get a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second, please.
Second.
Second from Commissioner Bashant. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions, passes unanimously. Have a good evening, everyone. Thank you.
Good evening.
And
Right, take a question, please. This guy here. Is it children?